Good morning, church. Welcome to Beach Baptist Anywhere. Anywhere is Weeki Wachee, Florida. And we are glad that you have joined us this morning. My son will be with you here just in a moment, working on technical things. And we're going to hear from the word. And we just ask that you pray for the church and pray for the ministry. Sean, you ready?
I'm ready. I just wanted y'all to see Papa this morning. He drove over. He's taking care of Gracie's cats. Never really thought. Never would have thought. Never would have thunk it. There we are, taking care of cats. It's okay. Yeah, thank y'all for being out there. Hey, good news. I think that maybe this week, I love telling y'all this because I do this all the time. I think that maybe this week, all of our paperwork will be signed. They told me on Friday everything's done, ready to be signed. Now it's just signing. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And then everything you voted on at Easter will be finalized. Lord have mercy. Never met. Yeah, you know what? I never did a lot with lawyers. But I think I may have told y'all that last week. They've been arguing over a sentence. Literally one sentence for almost a month and a half. And I don't mean arguing. They just, one has an idea, the other one has an idea. There's no confrontation to it. It's just what lawyers call an argument. So they've been presenting arguments back and forth to one another. Did you know that every email costs $650? I read an email the other day. It was 2 sentences long, and he charged $650. Now we're not paying all that. Don't worry about it. That's all coming out of the new people and all that kind of stuff, and just out of money that's been set aside for that purpose, not from Beach Baptist. If Beach Baptist were paying that, our emails would be 1 word long, and I'd be sending them, not a lawyer. So I got a kid. Come here. You want to do it? Come here. Come here. This one will. They've been on a trip. They just got back last night. So there's one. There's another one here somewhere. Baby Tay's here every Sunday morning. You may not know that because he's so short. You don't see him. Look, boink. There he is. So he's always here. If you hear noises in the background, it's probably him. Typically, that's what happens. So let's get on with it this morning. And we want to look at, we got another choice. We've been talking about choices and things you choose over things you shouldn't choose and that sort of thing. Make sure y'all can hear me. I guess y'all can hear me. I'm watching my little dots running. It doesn't look very big, but we'll see. You can't be watching it on your phone here because it'll mess up our thing. There you go. Got it. So here's our choice that we're going to kind of talk about and just, well, I'm going to have to ask you questions. How many of you would wish, I can't see you raise your hands, but you can put in the comments, I wish I had more. How many of you wish you had more time to do something? Like there's something that you'd like to do, but you just don't have time. I want more time with my kids. I want more time to fish. Maybe you like to garden. Maybe you want to go surfing. I don't know. I don't know who I'm talking to out there, so you never know. But how many of you just wish there was more time? You know, maybe you want to rest. Maybe you want to read. Maybe you want to just whatever it is. But it's you. But you don't because, like most, you know, there's a yard to mow. There's bills to pay, kids to raise. There's Instagram posts to write and filters to apply and online shopping. There's all kinds of stuff that gets in the way of the stuff that you would wish you had more time to do. I wish I had more time, but I just don't have enough time. I know you're all like this, so I'm just going to pretend I saw every one of you raise your hands, because whenever I walk up to someone, I'm out and I'm like, how you doing? The number one response, this is me too. I usually say this. How are you doing? The number one response is, I'm busy. It's busy. It's busy. Now, if you're a dad and you're telling dad jokes, somebody asks you, how you doing? Or you ask them, how you doing? They say busy. You come back with, are you working hard or hardly working? See, that's a bad dad joke, but that's what we go back with. But typically that's what people say is they're just, I'm busy. A lot going on. There's just stuff going on all the time. I have never, and I'm going to tell you this, I have never, not one time, asked someone, how you doing? And them come back with just chilling, just relaxed. And you know what? I got really nothing going on. It's just, I wish there was more things I could do because I've just got all this free time. No one's ever said that. Not one person's ever said that to me. And I can't prove from a theological standpoint, but this is like opinion 101. Okay. That I believe that if Satan can't make you bad, he'll make you busy. And he'll make you doing things that don't really matter. I mean, he'll just busy you up. How you doing? I'm busy. And in fact, I know that for those the ones who know that, for those the ones that say that, I wish I had more time. I think we have a little issue here to deal with. I mean, wouldn't you think? I think we need to train ourselves. See, our decision-making process is all about training ourselves. It's all about doing these things that we need to do versus what we choose to do. We all have time. Write this down. We all have time to do what we choose to have time for. We all have the same time. We all have the same amount of time. I mean, I was in a leadership conference once and they said, we all have the exact same amount of time. We all have 24 hours every single day. How you use those 24 hours is totally up to you. You get to choose that. And before anybody says, no, I got a lot of pressure on me. I've got things that I have to do. Yes and no. But what we're going to look at today is I think that a lot of us have chosen a certain thing over another. And that's making us feel this busy, we'll use the word urgency all the time. I choose what I have time for. But what's really important, and I think from what God would have us to learn today, is that we need to choose what's important over what's urgent. We need to choose what's most important over what's urgent. Now, you can say, I thought urgent things were important. And urgent things are always important. But we got to bring a distinction between what's important and what's urgent. Oh, I said that wrong. Because urgent things aren't always important. I said that wrong. But they're not. Here's the difference. Let's say you own a business and you've got customers, right? An upset customer is urgent. Making sure you do your business correctly to try to minimize upset customers, that's important. You choose to do the important instead of the urgent. Because there are plenty of people out there running businesses that are just choosing to deal with urgent matters from customers instead of doing what's urgent in the early time to make sure to keep their customers happy, to do the right thing. It is urgent. If your car breaks down because you haven't had the oil changed, it's urgent to fix the engine now. It's important to take care of it. It's important to maintain the car. I had a guy at church one time tell me, we had bought a car. It was a church car. It got destroyed in a hurricane. Couldn't do anything about that part. But he told me this. He said, religiously, and I mean religiously, change the oil in that car every 5,000 miles, just like the manufacturer says you should. And I mean, don't miss it. He said, in fact, change it early if you have to. Change early is better than late. He said, change it. And he said, that car will go for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of miles. And I talked to other people and I did a little research on that. And what you find out is all manufacturers will tell you that. You do the maintenance on the vehicle and it will last longer than you ever thought it would. That's why when you go to an auction to buy a vehicle, always buy one from a fleet service who has the maintenance records. They do it. They do what's important so that they're not always stuck doing the urgent. Right? Makes sense? It's really urgent if there's something. So I give you a health one because I got to give you a health one. I'll give you a school one later too. I see a lot of people in the emergency room because they have urgent problems. And that's very important. Take care of those urgent problems. But if many of them had taken care of the important problem or the important issues, they wouldn't have to deal with the urgent problem. This is not 100% across the board, but this is the majority. If you eat right, if you exercise, if you take care of yourself, those are important, keeps you from having less urgent issues that you have to deal with. So we need to choose important over the urgent. You choose the important before the urgent ever happens. Seth Godin, he wrote a bunch of leadership books, and I read those a long, long time ago. And I had to go back and find exactly phrasing that he said it. He says, if you choose what is important, you won't deal with as many things that are urgent. Think about it. If you choose what is important, you won't deal with as many things that are urgent. But he said the opposite is never, ever true. If you're only choosing which is urgent, then you're not going to be faced with more things that are important. So therefore, we're going to choose the important over the urgent. Just because you do all the urgent doesn't mean the important ones go down. The important ones are still there. Think about that. You can fix things all you want in the urgency, but the important thing is keep things working, keep things moving, and you won't have as many urgents. So we're going to look over. I did this story. We did this story in a Better series. It was called Better. And I'll show you the word. It pops up here. But we're using it today in a choice making of what's important over what's urgent. We're going to look at the story of Mary and Martha. It's Luke chapter 10, starts in verse 38. And what we have is we have Mary and Martha. And we're going to look at Martha because Martha does what many of us do. She gets overwhelmed with the urgent that she misses the important. Overwhelmed with the urgent. Look at verse 38. Luke describes it. He said, as Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. She had a sister called Mary. And we're going to see Mary chooses what's important. Mary sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he said. Mary chose what was important. Mary did what many of us, Martha did what many of us do. She surrendered to the urgent. Now, they knew Jesus, right? So, and I can see Martha who would say, okay, Jesus needs to talk to these other people so I can handle the stuff behind the scenes. I've already listened to Jesus. It's going to be very important for them to listen to Jesus. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to take care of stuff. I'm going to take care of the house. I'm going to get the food ready. I'm going to wrap the pigs in their blankets, right? They was Jewish. They probably didn't do that. But Mary's like, I'm going to go sit at the feet of Jesus and listen to what he says. Mary chose what was important. Martha surrendered to urgent. So read ahead and you find out that Martha got all wigged out. It would have been fine if Martha, but the wigging out part, check this out. The wigging out part tells you that she chose wrong. Okay? Because she wanted everything to be right. And I don't blame her. Jesus had come to his house. I've told y'all many times, you know, when we had a house, right now we have a fifth wheel. So not a lot of people come over. And those that do come over, they're our kids. We don't care. It looks like it looks. But before people would come over, we would get in this frenzy of cleaning, throw stuff under beds, in closets, sweep, mop, dust, whatever, wipe it down. We did finally get to a point to where it was like, you know what? We are what we are. Now, what would have been important, maybe, no, we'll get there. Because our house was always clean, you know, but you want to put it extra special. Look at Martha. She wants it to be extra, extra special because Jesus is in the house. It's not, I guarantee, if Jesus was coming to my house, I would be in a very panicked frenzy. And I'd want to make sure the best candle was burning. And I want to make sure worship music was playing on the radio. You know, it would have to be really, really ready for him. That would be urgency. And I hope you can see the fallacy, just a little bit of the fallacy in that. Would it be important? Now, what would be important is just be ready all the time. Say this. It's urgent to clean, and you go and spend 4 hours doing it, slamming it home. Or what if you just every now and then or daily, put an hour in? You get the same amount done. All right, we're not even going to go down that. So it is so hot here. I said this the other day. Look, this is not nearly as bad as it actually. I mean, it looks a lot worse than this. That's sweat. One day, Beach Baptist Anywhere will have air conditioning. We don't have that. Look at verse 40, though. Here's where she starts to wig out. Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. See, in her mind, it had to be made. She chose that there were things that had to be done. And now, I tell you, I get distracted easily. I do. Squirrel. Like, the kids will walk up, I'll be distracted. But I'm talking about, I get distracted with just stuff, and I can't, like, they were teasing me at school this past week. They're like, something off with you this week. You're just like, you're all over the place. Like, literally, I pulled one of the pop. I pulled a papa. I'm glad he's here today. I pulled a papa. I was holding my phone, looking for my phone, literally my hands. I'd already done it with my glasses. They were on me. And a couple of the students around me, they're just like, what's wrong with you? I was distracted. Now, it was distracted over school stuff, but still, it's distractions. And we get that. I love this because Martha comes up and tattles. The one facing the urgency comes up and tattles on the one who's doing the important. She says, hold on. I clicked on the wrong button. Sorry. So Martha was distracted by all these preparations. I get it. She came to Jesus and she said, Lord, don't you care? My sister has left me to do all this work by myself. Tell her to help me out. She's throwing a fit at Jesus, telling him to help her out. Distracted by all these preparations that had to be made. Have you been significantly distracted in some urgent stuff and missed out on the important stuff? Neglected the important stuff? What is the most important thing you've been distracted from pursuing? What's the most important thing when you think about your life? What is the most important thing you've been distracted from doing? Hey, would you go get me that? I feel like a Southern preacher. I need a sweat rag. Now, if I had any sense, I'd use a bunch of sweat rags, give it to me, and then I'd sell them on the internet. There, Pastor Sean's sweat rag. You want it? It's $5. I'm joking. I send it to you for $15. Some of you'd say, well, I'm busy doing things for my children that don't even enjoy the kids, right? I've said that before. I'm doing, but I don't get to enjoy them. Haven't made a real investment, right? Maybe you become child-centered parents and you forgot about the thing that got you the children, and you've neglected the important, the marriage. You've forgotten that which would strengthen your kids most spiritually, and that would be your relationship with each other. Some would say you've neglected your physical body. So many urgent things going on. I just kind of told you that. So many urgent things going on that I got water and coffee. Thank you. But there's so many urgent things, you end up eating fast food. Listen, I got in a habit driving to St. Pete every week. I got in this bad habit. I would eat the same thing every morning. I justified it. It was pretty, I mean, it's still not horribly healthy, but it's still gas station breakfast sandwich. And my wife told me it doesn't matter that it comes from Wawa. It's still a bad breakfast sandwich. But I was doing it every day. I'm not talking about. But it was urgent because I would sleep a little late, and I wouldn't make my overnight oats, or I wouldn't make what was healthy so that I could do it. I would just get up in an urgency of getting there. And once I got there, I had time, see, and then I would just make a bad choice. I'd love to go and walk 3 days a week. I'm not walking anytime right now. It's like 99 degrees in the shade. Some of you doing some stuff that's maybe more internal. Maybe there's an addiction or a habit or a recurring sin that you deal with. and you need to confess it. You need to get help because you've neglected it. It's really important, but you haven't dealt with it. You see, it'd be important to deal with it before something urgent happens, and then you're faced with stopping everything and having to fix it. It's hard because there's so many urgent things going on. So Jesus answers her. This is what verse 41. Martha, Martha, you're worried and upset about many things. You are. Now let me stop. You're worried and upset about many things. If some of you had a life verse, maybe that's what you need to have tattooed. You're worried and upset about many things. You're freaked out all the time. I'm not going to get it all done. I'm just so upset over so many things. I look around and this bothers me. And not only just your current circle stuff that bothers you, like your life, you're upset about stuff out in the world. I mean, you'll watch a news channel and then go, I am just so upset about what's going on, about stuff you can't even do anything about. That's a whole nother sermon. But Jesus said, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. And then he says, Mary has done what? Mary has chosen what is better. There's our word that we used before. And it will not be taken away from her. She has chosen what better. She made a choice. She chose at that moment what was important and not what was urgent to get done. You see, I truly believe that all those people that had listened to Jesus and were sitting there listening, they'd have been just fine if the food wasn't ready when they got done. They'd have been just fine if there wasn't enough to drink when they got done. If the living room where they were all gathered, Martha picking up stuff around them, I think they'd have been just fine. Because the important thing was right in front of them. Martha surrendered to the urgent. Mary chose what was important. Very good delineation. When it's urgent, you have to surrender to it. In your mind, if you choose that it's urgent, you have to surrender to it. You make the choice constantly if it's important. Listen, if we're not intentional, the urgent will crowd out the important, and it happens all the time. We have a choice. We have time for what we choose to have time for. That's why if we use God here, we apply this to our lives. We can choose what's important over the urgent. I'll give you 3 practical thoughts and then we'll be done. Maybe it's not as hot where you are. It makes me talk fast when it's hot. I'm going to have to do it again. I even have a fan. It's blowing on. In time management or in energy management, you know, we get taught this. You write down. It's in school. It's in leadership classes. This is whatever it is. First thing, create an artificial deadline. If you've got something going on that you got to do, create an artificial deadline. What is an artificial deadline? It's fake. Now, I don't know if my mom's watching this morning, but my dad does this to her constantly. If they have to leave at 6:30, he tells her they have to leave at 5:30. She gets the same amount of stuff done, but she gets it done right up to the moment, sometimes maybe 5 minutes late from the 5:30 time. But that's better than being past the 6:30 time. So create that artificial deadline in your brain. You do it already certain times. Let's say you've got a 4-day weekend coming up that's going to start on Thursday, but you still have all 5 days worth of work to get done. But you only have Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to do it. You will move Friday's deadline to Wednesday. And by the end of the day on Wednesday, you will have had all 5 days worth of work done. That's an artificial deadline. You work stronger. You work more focused, doing the important stuff instead of waiting. See, if you didn't do that, along would come Wednesday, and you'd have only done your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday stuff. And then Thursday and Friday would become this urgent thing that had to happen in the last couple of hours on Wednesday. But you didn't do that. You knew it was coming, and you made the changes. We do that because that 4-day weekend trip is important. So you can do that in every single thing of your life. you can just make artificial deadlines on stuff and get it done earlier, so that these, if everything is just hanging there over your head, you're never 100% focused on anything. You're just divided. That was me. I still am a little bit. This is a big part of my life that I still have to work on, to get divided. I know as I go into nursing, you can't be. I mean, you're going to be divided among patients, but when you got to be focused on your set of things that you're doing for your patients. But we've all got this in our life. It's not just that. You all have places in your life where you're choosing urgency because you're not taking the time to do what's important. Maybe you need to set your, I know for me, this is something I was reading about that I think I can start to do. I need a hard end to my day. I know my schedule's kind of wonky right now, but just to set a hard time that's like, this is the end of my day. And at the end of my day, then I can maybe exercise. I've been getting better. I've done it a couple times now since last week. That's more than I have. Adding those in. But just set a time that says, you know what? Instead of 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock being the end of my day, I'm just going to hardline it back up a little bit and say, you know what? With my current schedule, I can be done with my day at 3 o'clock. That's just going to be it. And then I've still got time to do the other stuff. Right? To do some important things. To create a harsh or a fake deadline. Second thing, ruthlessly selective in your yeses. Now, if you ask my wife, she'll tell you, I was always a yes man. Whatever you needed, I got you. I'm going to do it. And now I've stopped. I might get a request from somebody to go to do, like I've got one I got to do this afternoon, but I weighed it. I weighed the choice here. I chose to do important yesterday because today was going to be kind of an urgent. And if I didn't choose important, then what I didn't do yesterday would now be an urgency on my life that I would be stressed out about. So now yesterday was important and I treated it as important. Today is now just important. It's not urgent. It's just important because it's got to be done. That you may not make sense, but if it makes sense, remember, you're supposed to put it in the comments. That makes sense. So that I don't have to say, does that make sense? So be selective in your yeses. That you choose only what's meaningful in your life. Don't overcommit. Have you ever committed to doing something in the future, and then as it got closer, you go, ugh, can't believe I said yes to that. Happens to me all the time. But I'm working on that. I'm starting to just say, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that later. I don't want to do that tomorrow. I'm just going to go ahead and say, no, that doesn't fit into my life. We can all do that. We all have that. Guess what? We all have this choice. We all have this opportunity to do what's important so that we're not stuck doing all of this urgent stuff. Let me jump. Third one. We're going to do first what matters most. And this is great application. We could have just went to this one. Do first what matters most. Now, you could be saying, well, I guess it all matters. That's why I say most. What matters most? Now, I'm going to say something that I didn't always agree with necessarily, but I've put it into full-on practice, and it's better. It really is. I'm going to say that according to what the Bible teaches us, and what God has instructed us, what Jesus emulated, was that we need to decide that time with God matters most. Some time, and I'm talking about every single day, some time with God matters most. Now, there's not it's got to be 15 minutes, got to be 10, can only be whatever. Not that. We're saying that, I'm saying some time with God matters most. That means every day making first. Making first. And this is hard. This is hard. This morning, I have a lot of stuff coming up, right? I had a sermon this morning. I have a test on Thursday. And I have, so I've got some videos to watch for that. And then I also have my just innate desire to see what's going on Facebook and Instagram. I mean, it's like a burning desire. I mean, it's like if I don't find out what you had to eat or what you did for fun last night, if I don't find that out, or if I don't find out the next thing I need to buy to make my life better, if I don't do that, I literally feel like I could die. I mean, it's just that bad. And so this morning I got up and the first thing, I did hit make coffee. I got a button. I make some coffee. And I sat down and I had my iPad and I had my phone, both of which have what's most important on them. That's just my Bible app for me to do my time with God. And I've told you how I spend my time with God on work or school days when I'm driving. That one, I got that one down. I never stray from it. But for some reason, on the days that I don't do that, I sit in my chair and I pick up my phone and I literally go to tap YouVersion. But instead, my finger tapped Facebook. It tapped it. And you know what happens when it taps it? It comes up. And there it was. With all of the exciting, riveting, yet mind-numbing information that Meta has for us today. And it took me almost 15 minutes to realize you are a freaking idiot. What have you done? You did not you're getting ready to preach a sermon over doing what matters most first. And I had to sit with it a minute and say, well, that's because today I chose that Facebook mattered most. Just real transparent, okay? There's no excuse for that. It's not I slipped. Today I chose that Facebook mattered most. So I did it first. The desire won. I stopped. I apologized to God. That was a repentant moment. It wasn't I'll do better. No, when we do crap like that, we need to stop and admit we're an idiot. You see, God calls me an idiot. He may not call you an idiot. He calls me an idiot. And that's okay. I trust him to call me an idiot. I trust him to know that I'm an idiot. And I stopped and repented. I'm sorry. And then I went to what matters most. I changed my thinking. You're right. You matter most. Okay. And I started over. And at this moment, you matter most. And I went to him. And I read my verses. And I prayed to him. You see, it's not about getting it right. It's about realizing when you get it wrong and fixing it. So choose first what matters most. But you have to know that you have to make him matter most first. Make him matter most in your life. Or at least realize he should matter most. And then when you make the decisions, you'll choose him. You'll choose him. I love the verse. Seek first. I thought I'd wrote it down. Oh, Matthew 6:33. I didn't. It says, seek you. You. It's an imperative. You seek first the kingdom of God. And this isn't everything. It's every day, every decision. It's everything. Seek first the kingdom, and then everything else will be added to it. All the important stuff will be added to you as you seek God's kingdom first. in your life. The important stuff will come along, and you can choose to do it. And he will keep you from as many urgent things as you'll allow him. You see, as he directs your steps, he's showing you every single day what's important as you walk it. But you got to start with him. Some things I saw on Facebook this morning, if I hadn't changed my ways, I would have found some things that could have directed my day, and I could have made more important, and it would have put things in my life that I would have assumed was more important, and all of my other important things would have had to become urgent later. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and then everything else will be added. Will be added. It's the heat. I pray. So I'm going to give you a prayer. I don't know if you can. I wrote this. I have to write it. I have to read it every day. I don't have it memorized, so I don't expect you all to have it memorized, but I pray that you give me the mind of Christ, that I might think on things to honor you. Give me eyes to see only what is pure. Give me ears to hear your spirit speaking. May my mouth be an encouragement to everyone. May I speak your truth. My heart is deceitful above all things. God, give me a pure heart that I may serve you. Use my hands, God, today to bring glory to your kingdom. Direct the steps of my feet that I will go where you want me to go. You see, if we want to seek and honor God, we seek him first. And yes, you can write your own prayer. And I thought about, I copied some of that because it just reads so well. I don't talk like that. But I feel like I have to say it that way because it speaks to me as I say it that way. I could have spoke to him like I do throughout the day. Like, hey, God, help me here. Just a real quickie. But I've been reading that one in its words and saying them in his words in my prayer. Because, after this morning, when I said that prayer, give me eyes to see what only is pure. Oh my gosh. Do you know how much stuff is not pure when you open up your phone? And when I am talking about hard impurity, we're just talking about it's not pure. And then the things you see when you don't seek him first that you then talk about. Help me that my mouth be an encouragement to everyone. May I speak your truth. Okay, finally. What can we do? You've got the world at your fingertips here. The choices you need to now go make to identify the things that are important in your life. You need to do that. There's no cookie cutter for that part. The cookie cutter is the decision is yours. And if you think back about all the decisions you've made before today, they've made you who you are now. And that's sobering because because by doing that, the decisions you make today are going to look a certain way in the future. So take this time to analyze your life and to see what's important and make important decisions. Choose what matters most first so that you can see what's important to keep you out of an urgency constantly, to keep yourself from being all boiled up, just a constant shattering of time. A focus on what God sets before you. But you got to seek him first. And he will add the important things to your life. Let's pray, because there's important things to get done. God, I thank you for your word and for what it speaks to us and how it means to us and how it directs us. God, I pray for grace when I don't, and thank you for it already being there. Help us to see the error of our ways, but more important, to apologize for them and to make the change. Thank you for your constant reminders, for your constant love. and for our ability to follow you. In your name we pray. Amen. See y'all. We'll be here.